Hi folks, welcome to Follow the Leader, a podcast focused on telling character-driven stories through the use of GM-less tabletop games where we can all take the lead. You can find us on Twitter at FTLcast and our website ftlcast.com. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/FTLcast. Today we're playing Fiasco by Jason Morningstar. For those of you who are new to this game, here are the basics. Fiasco is inspired by cinematic tales of small-time capers gone disastrously wrong. Inspired by films like Blood Simple, Fargo, The Way of the Gun, Burn After Reading, and A Simple Plan. You'll play ordinary people with powerful ambition and poor impulse control. There will be big dreams and flawed execution. It won't go well for them, to put it mildly, and in the end it will probably all go south in a glorious heap of jealousy, murder, and recrimination. Lives and reputations will be lost, painful wisdom will be gained, and if you are really lucky, your guy might just end up back where he started. Specifically, we're going to be using a playset written by us, Standing Stones, and this is acting as a sequel to the game of The Riot Starts by Riley Rethel we played in Season 3. You don't have to have listened to that for this to make sense, but if you want to get a feel for these characters and the setting in action, check out Arc 30. But to give you a bit of flavour, this is not a place of life. Smoke and dust litter the air. Lines and lines of factories are all you can see, when you can even see. There is no sky, no stars, no sun, no moon. There is only work, forever. Maybe some temporary solace comes in the form of bootleg wine or flowers, or throwing a week's wage down the drain for a chance to see the sky. Beside that, it comes from those around you, if you're lucky. But it doesn't have to be this way, and that's the most important thing. I'm Jade, and you can find me at JadeOxfordRose on Twitter, and my pronouns are they, them. Playing with me today, we have Brian.
Hi, I'm Brian. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me in the podcast that I primarily do, I guess my primary partner podcast, on the internet at Roomware Pod. I'm from the Room Where It Happened, an actual play podcast built on communal world building and having fun with friends. You can also find me over on Dumb Kids Playing Hero, playing Dante. It's an Animorphs inspired podcast. And if you like August and you like me, you can find me and August talking about Steven Universe 3 episodes at a time over on Gay Space Pod. That's at Gay Space Pod on Twitter. Peace.
We have Zach.
Hello, my name is Zachary Fredericks, and you can find me on Twitter at ObfuscatingGod. My pronouns are he, him, and you can find the music I do at iambugbear.bandcamp.com, including some of the music that's been featured on this very show, collected under the album title All Together Now, Songs from Follow the Leader.
And lastly, but no means leastly, we have Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam. You can find me on Twitter at SAKalo, and you can find my portfolio website at samkalo.art. I use he, him pronouns, and I think this is probably the most he, hims we've ever had on, or rather, this and the last time we played with this cast, on our podcast.
It's me and the boys.
Boy time.
It's you and the boys today.
Just flashing a peace sign at a camera that isn't there.
Cracking a cold one open with the boys.
Yep.
Yep.
Our lines, which are things we absolutely do not want to see, are homophobia and transphobia, racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, violence against children and animals, sexual assault, domestic violence or intimate partner violence, unwanted pregnancy, plagues, and pandemics. Our veils, which are things we're fine with addressing but will just fade to black on, are steamy situations, graphic descriptions of bodily harm, and terminal illness. Now that we've got all that, let's get started.
Mournful guitar music, please.
Mournful guitar music. Alrighty, so did we want to do a quick recap of the events of the Riot Starts game before we roll some dice and get into a fiasco?
Yes.
Would it be funny if I tried to recap what I can remember?
We have
let's start with Sam.
We only have a finite amount of time. Are we sure we want to start
That's
with
fair.
Sam?
I don't think that we'll finish today anyway, so we might as well.
Bold.
Listen.
All I can remember
Yes, tell us, Sam.
All I can remember
Who are our characters?
Galen's sister was there. My character was Galen. His sister was there. Galen was the one who was carving, I think, like, bits of wood into, like, a printing press.
Yeah.
And we're trying to start a revolution.
I mean, yeah, that is all technically correct.
That is the extent of my memory of this game so far, but I'm sure I will remember more. Also, the fact that Jade's character does not like being called Junie, and that is the only thing that my character would call her.
Tell me, Sam, who is my character? Who is Brian's character?
Your character was here after T undersigned, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
tell us about
Brian. He's a fucking lawyer, a slippery boy. And Brian's character was really nice, and I can't remember his name.
You are in the document where it is written, Sam.
Yeah, but I'm trying not to look at it because it ruins the humor.
Does it?
His name is Wyatt Vancroft. I've scrolled up, and he was nice to Galen, and that's all I remember. He gave Galen a little bit of a purpose because Galen was like, I am lost. Anyway, somebody who remembers more, please give us a bit more of a summary.
Go on, Brian.
So last time we opened up in, I guess, we never named it. It's just the factory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the underworld.
Yeah,
it's the factory.
The underworld. We're in some kind of like
place.
hellscape, like factory, like Industrial Revolution-esque factory. With us is Galen, a recently deceased king. Even though time doesn't work the same here, he's a recent arrival to this place, a little bit lost. He is marginally taken under the wing by Juniper, who is a kind of like, what was it? Is the 70s, right?
Yeah, she was a political activist in the 60s and 70s.
In the 60s and 70s on normal Earth, which I don't think Galen is from normal Earth either.
No. No.
This was put upon her by Hereafter T undersign, right? That's it. I always want to call him Hereafter T underscore. Who
he works as an IT programmer.
Yeah. Who is the lawyer for kind of for the fact he's like a mercenary lawyer in the underworld, writing contracts, particularly getting people like basically bound to the factory through infernal contracts. And then finally is Wyatt Vancroft, from a dead timeline of the room where it happened, where he lost the big battle at the end of our first season, and he's dead now, and he's here. And he's the man who built the machine that the factory is built around. They slowly begin to plan a revolution, particularly Junie trying to like goad Wyatt into doing things in general. And Galen sort of helping with this when we discover that his sister is playing our Persephone or Nyx or what have you in this particular setting of the queen of the underworld, who is, doing her best probably. Yeah. Oh, go on. Sorry.
No.
Oh yeah. There's a few shenanigans as they begin to distribute subversive information, and I believe we end on the idea that was posited at the very end of the episode was Hereafter talking to Wyatt, being like, you can do so much more further up the management chain.
Yes. So throughout all of this, Hereafter was positioning people and manipulating them for an ultimately positive end. He's just a real sneaky guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a slippery boy, like I said.
Every time Zach says his character that this character is a version of is working to an ultimate good end, I'm always just like, is he though? Like, press F to doubt.
He believes he is. Yeah. He is trying his, he is using the tools that he has developed to pursue his ends, and he thinks that his ends will also benefit other people. And as part of that, he positioned it such that Wyatt was able to, gain a bit of additional power within the factory. The part of the way that Hereafter influenced Wyatt to do that was that knowledge that higher ups get vacation time at Elysium, where there is somebody that Wyatt needs to find. But also because if Wyatt is the one who is climbing the corporate ladder, then Hereafter doesn't get any additional scrutiny on him.
Right. And also, Wyatt has a history with this whole corporate ladder thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You understand this. You've done this before.
I feel like
there was also the reveal at the end that Hereafter was the one who wrote Wyatt's contract, which meant that despite Hereafter being a lawyer from like the 50s and Wyatt being from like an urban fantasy cyberpunk future, that Hereafter was here first.
Time is weird. Especially in the afterworld. In the afterlife / underworld.
Yeah.
The afterworld.
The afterworld.
If you will.
Yeah, I like it.
And so I think, oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I think that covers all the cognizant details.
Mm-hmm.
And because now we get to roll a bunch of dice and establish what the relationships between these characters look like now. Once we know that, and we've like picked our objects or locations for each relationship, maybe we can figure out how long after the events of that first game this is.
Yeah. I do think it's been like we've had a bit of a time skip. We're coming into a new normal
for sure
that's been established.
Does somebody want to roll those dice?
Yes.
I
will press the random side button on these dice tokens I made a long time ago.
I had to break out my other my Wyatt playlist, which is radically different from all my other playlists. The Wyatt playlist them under there?
I find it harder to read them.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Alrighty. Let's go around the circle. Basically, the way we should normally explain how Fiasco works. So we roll a pool of dice, and then we use the numbers on those dice to form the relationships between the characters, and then define those relationships further. And we take turns assigning aspects of either the relationship or our relationship with another player. It's quite complicated to read out, and sounds more complicated than it is when you do. So, yeah. And I say that we are going to cut out. We are probably going to cut all of this business out, and we'll jump into telling you what these relationship cards end up looking like.
We'll see you on the other side, kids.
See you on the other side, yeah. Very good shout. So
we should also run down our...
Yes. Okay, so if we just want to... Now we've done all the dice pulling around and upsetting Zach by moving the dice when he's trying to move the dice, let's go over the relationship cards between the characters. So, yeah, if we just go clockwise around, if we want to start with Wyatt.
Hi, it's Wyatt Vancroft, your boy. I currently have a relationship with Hereafter T _
undersigned.
Yeah, whatever. The
I say your name correctly, Mr. Bancroft.
Currently have relationship Shadowy Dealings - Co-Conspirators and Something Dangerous. We have an object. It's Something Dangerous - a train ticket out of here. And then do you want me to do the relationship with Galen, or how are we doing that?
Sam will read that one.
Okay, cool. Gotcha.
Yes, I have the aforementioned relationship with Mr. Vancroft, as outlined by the contract. Additionally, I have a new and burgeoning relationship as rival faction leaders with one Juniper Aurelius. We have a moral need to find the good in me.
Do we? Is that how that goes?
Well, that's what the words say.
But that's what the words say, but it depends on the perspective of the person reading it, doesn't it? So we'll see.
It's on the paper. It's been signed. I don't know why we're talking about it.
All right.
So, the relationship that Junie, long-suffering Juniper Aurelius, who maybe thought death would be a release from suffering, but apparently not. Their relationship with Galen, specifically, Galen, guarded by the grace and glory of our illustrious Shining Lord.
Thank you.
We are friends of a sort, specifically bunkmates, have been since Galen arrived here. And our locations are sort of the downtime, where we spend our downtime, what little of it. And that could be a number of different places, but loosely that's the category.
All right. And I, Galen, guarded by the grace and glory of our illustrious Shining Lord, have a mentor-mentee relationship with Wyatt. Our place is in the restricted areas, specifically a burned-out machine room, which Galen is not really aware of the fact that, of course, for Wyatt, this is somewhat significant. And we have between us an object which is just simply tools of the trade. What trade? Oh, but tools of the trade.
Tools of it, baby.
Alrighty. So with that established, we can begin Act 1 of a place that we're loosely calling Escape from the Underground or the Afterworld, as it got dubbed earlier, that I actually like, so I might just change that now.
Escape from the Afterworld.
Okay.
Afterworld.
So it turns out actually Sam was born in the smallest town.
Hey.
So Sam gets
by just a hair too. I thought me and my little Appalachian hometown was gonna do it.
I did not realize my hometown was so small, but you know what? It makes sense.
Right. So Sam, you can either choose to establish this scene, or you can choose if it's going to be a happy or a positive or a negative ending. If you choose to end it, we have to come up with the premise of the scene for you.
Cool, that sounds fun. I like that. I'm joking.
But yeah, you get to then decide whether it's going to be a positive or negative scene.
Sure. I think to start us off, let's give us a little positive scene. Or like a positive ending. Alrighty,
so the rest of us get to establish what this scene is. Just grab one of the red die. Just for the moment, you'll be giving it to somebody else at the end, because that's how Act 1 works.
Gotcha.
But just so you know that it's going to be a positive one.
So you're resolving the scene. You're asking us to create a scene for you. You're asking us to create the first scene for you. Thanks.
Sorry.
Power move, frankly.
So, how long after the events of the Riot Stars is this?
Long enough for Wyatt and Hereafter to be co-conspirators, and for them to have a faction that could be considered rivals with Juniper's.
I'm so mad that effectively means that maybe Wyatt and Juniper are in rival factions.
Well, we are on the opposite ends of this thing, so we have no relationship anymore.
Not in the dice sense. Brian, don't make me sad.
F in chat for their relationship.
Like Hereafter said, it's there on the paper. We all signed it.
But yeah, so obviously time is nebulous in the underworld, but it seems that maybe the revolution has at least gotten further than it was at the end of the last game, and enough so that there are different perspectives on how it should move forward, which might be why there are these rival factions.
It could be that Juniper is doing a kind of on the ground rabble rousing sort of thing, whereas Wyatt and Hereafter are doing the take it out from the top.
Yeah, I like that.
That makes sense.
Okay.
It's like, the president can change things.
Sure. Alrighty. In which case, obviously we know that Galen's sister, whose name I have forgotten, is the Persephone of our story.
Yeah, her name is Fallon.
Fallon.
It means wolf.
Should be Fallon everywhere. Fallon on the whole thing.
But, because we know that she comes and goes once a year. So is this a couple of... because there is a vague concept of years, even if it means nothing for the people that live here. So is this maybe 2 years later? Has she come and gone twice?
That makes sense to me,
Does that seem like a fair amount of time?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
That sounds good to me.
Well, we could have the scene establishing that. Maybe it could be her coming back. So it's effectively the beginning of a winter.
Yeah, I like that. So I guess somebody then has to play her, or we have sort of characters talking about it.
I mean, I established that. If Brian or Zach, if you want to establish like where this scene is and who's in it, feel free to use the locations for inspiration.
Let's see. Well, so I mean, probably it's at the. This is her coming back, and this is Galen meeting with her. So probably it's at the station.
Alrighty.
That's right. I guess there's a train station because somebody has a train ticket out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Once upon a time, there was a railroad track.
There's a Hades Stone reference.
Yes, that's what this game was.
Which category is the station on? Or is it not the station isn't an area, but the train tracks are?
Train tracks are.
I mean, Brian played her last time.
It's true, but I had spent most of the game listening to Sam's accent, so I was just trying to fake Sam's accent, but at a higher register.
It's okay, just sound like really pretentious, like vaguely.
Give me another hit. Give me another hit of Galen, real quick.
Oh fuck. Okay. Listen. This isn't about right or wrong or good or evil or whatever. It's just about people, and people are messy.
Okay. Got it. I'm good. All right, I got this.
Cool.
Okay.
I don't know where that came from either, but, that's Galen.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to do good, but he doesn't do good very well.
So, it's sepia, like, huge cameras all, like, faded orange, like, warm tones, but, like, in that faded way that, like, evokes the idea of, nostalgia. There's steam everywhere as, like, 3 or 4 train attendants just absolutely loaded down with, like, boxes and not boxers, that'd be weird.
Boxes of boxes. Yeah. All right, everyone needs new underwear eventually.
Boxes and steamer trunks and all of that jazz. What was her name again?
Fallon.
Yes. As Jimmy Fallon.
Fuck off.
So somebody makes fun of your sister's name and you get all up in arms about it.
I'm not making fun.
I know. Sorry, Brian. Go
as Fallon steps off in sort of like
yes.
I like that you're Googling something. I can hear it.
I'm making noises. That's why you can't figure out what I'm saying. As like Fallon.
Well, no, it sounded like you were Googling something, like you were typing while you were making noises.
I was, yeah. I was actually doing that. As Fallon steps off, she is wearing sort of like this powder blue get up of like a dress that kind of comes into like more of a long sleeve corseted top with like a high starched collar and like a little top hat that is the same blue but has like kind of like a lace ribbon of a sort of like light like pastel tangerine and like a parasol that matches the ribbon on the hat. She comes like sort of sauntering off. Does she see Galen there, I guess? Is Galen, like, there with the sign that says, like, Fallon?
I feel like he might be, but I feel like he also might be lost in the crowd a bit because, like, the people of this town, like, love her. Mm-hmm. So there's probably quite a bit of, it's not like there are a lot of people coming off of this train.
Correct.
It's probably, like, 2 people who are disembarking off of this train.
Yeah.
And Fallon is probably the only one who's really visible. The rest of them, like, are either, attendants or look like attendants, to draw attention away from themselves. So I don't know that she sees him, but he's there. He's got a sign.
Okay.
He might be lost in the crowd a little bit. At least not at first,
Mm-hmm.
But, the moment she steps down, Galen's probably like waving an arm and going, "Sister!" Oh, shit. Like, "Sister, over here." I would back up a lot and yell, but
I think she like smiles, sort of like talks to the attendants, sort of ushers them to like wherever the fuck they're going, right? And she comes like kind of over in your general direction, like glad handing, talking to folks as she's sort of making her way through the crowd, and then finds he's like, "Galen, dearest, it's a pleasure that you met me here."
He's gonna pull her into a big hug, and he is very greasy. He's like wearing his like obviously like kind of worn like working gear because
right.
His normal fancy boy outfits from the years past are just not cutting it.
Right.
And so he sweeps her up into this big hug. Probably gets her perfect pristine dress a little mucky.
If you don't object, Sam, I feel like Juniper is maybe there to keep you company, two, to like, yes, he has permission to be here. Or
yeah,
to
no, I like
that he has permission to be there.
Yeah.
Also because I remember
like
having a contentious relationship between Juniper and Fallon. So
yes. No, I like that a lot.
So she's
always
just
happy to have more friends here.
Yeah, so just stood a little bit further back, like arms folded, like, I hate this.
Galen is just, sweeps her into this hug, is like, "Oh, it's so nice to see you, sister. We have missed you so dearly down here since you've been gone. It's truly been a trial, but it is good to have you back here among us down here." He just sort of puts an arm over her shoulder because he's, taller than her enough that he can do that.
Mm-hmm. I think she starts walking with you, spinning the parasol, as you guys sort of like make your way through the crowd, and she's like, "Do tell me, brother, what amazing spectacles have I missed this time around?"
He sort of pauses because, like, revolution's not really something I can talk to my sister about. He goes, "Oh, it's been the same old down here. There's nothing really changes here, but, it is brighter with you here, of course." He sort of, like, winces, like, that hesitation probably wasn't great, but, oh well, just gonna keep moving.
"Oh, please." I think she sort of, like, pushes back, is like, you all are making your way toward, like, I guess probably some kind of car, some very fancy-looking old-timey car. And she's like, "Oh, please. While this place always seems to do its best to never change, things never stay the same either."
Sort of tilts his head and goes, "Well, I believe an old building down near our factory has been subsumed into our factory and is now a perfectly working and up and running part of the establishment."
And I think she's
Are
like,
there old rundown buildings here? Like, there's gotta be.
sure.
It's,
I always think of there's stuff like being built. There's always extensions being built because there's always more people and stuff getting broken down and having to be shut down so things can be repaired. Just constant.
Yeah. I think she kind of has like a somewhat slightly less jovial and like a little bit more grim look, where she's just like, "So I see the continued plans for expansion are going well then."
Never ends, does it? He sort of is like scratching the back of his neck like, "Yep. Nope, yep."
We do our best to keep up.
Oh,
of course.
I was
stepping in, just behind.
Oh, hello, Juniper.
Junie's here too.
I forgot.
Your Majesty.
Juniper.
Anyways,
Squints.
Galen's sort of like, well, something is up here and I don't want to deal with it, so we're gonna just sort of gloss right over that. Anyways, but how was your trip, sister? I can't wait to hear all about your exciting adventures up above.
Oh, you know, same old, same old. While you may think that this place is terribly boring, the things have a tendency to not have an impetus to change very much there. Though pleasant is not necessarily the most stimulating long-term visit.
I suppose.
Juniper
Galen's like-
gives her this look and just like, I've got
Galen's
a meeting
like-
to go to. And just looks at
Oh, God.
looks at the queen like, okay, you and your pacifying bullshit. I'm leaving.
Thank you for accompanying us here, Juniper.
Throws
I
up her
appreciate
middle
it
finger as
greatly.
she walks away.
Goodness gracious. All right, I apologize for her. Galen doesn't quite agree with the whole, like, oh, well, you know, it's pleasant, but nothing really changes, so it's fine. You know, this is better.
Yeah.
Galen's like, all right, okay. You're my sister and I love you. I don't agree with you, but I'm gonna, again, gloss past that because I don't like conflict. Despite being supposedly a hero who lost his crown and I don't like conflict bad.
Yes, I mean,
So-
interpersonal conflict is harder than shooting with a bow.
True. Very, very true. Yes. Still, do tell all about all the exciting things you've brought back for people. That is what you do, of course. He's like, I know your secret. I know you do this shit.
Yeah, and I think she goes into detail about the things. How are we landing this proverbial ship? You're the one with the ending dice, so...
I mean,
gotta
the
resolve
ending
it.
dice is positive, so like, just like they have a good little family reunion where Galen is happy to see his sister again, despite the fact that he's not really happy with the way she does things.
Mhm.
I guess if that makes sense, it's like, I love my sister. I don't agree with her, but I love my sister.
When they're out of earshot of other people, does he actually tell her about the revolution? Is this a secret he keeps from her, or is it something
That's a really
he
good
wants
question.
her involved with? Just
I
knows
think-
that he can't be public about it.
I think he does tell her a little bit about what the revolution is up to. Not a lot, but is like, you know, trying to get her in on it just so that she can help when it when push comes to shove. If help is needed, she can step in. I know it's not a good idea. Galen's not very bright.
Nice.
He also just really loves his sister and thinks that given the right information, she'll make the right decisions.
But he's not
Sure.
giving her any information, so...
He's giving her some information.
All right.
He's giving her the
Okay.
information he thinks she'll be able to help with.
right.
Like,
All right.
the fact that Wyatt is climbing in the ranks in order to try to make a positive difference. Like you can, sister. You know, that kind of thing.
Hint, hint.
You know?
Alrighty. If that's the end of the scene, Sam, you just need to decide who to give that dice to.
Who do I give the dice to? I mean, I guess I can't really give it to Brian for playing my sister good.
Well, you
'cause-
can. It's to the
Oh, can
player,
I?
not to the character.
Oh, is it? Perfect.
Oh, okay. Sweet, sick. Can I touch this
Alrighty.
one? I can touch it. Okay.
Brian, it's your turn to either frame or resolve the scene.
All right, I'm going to frame a scene with hereafter because I've been the nucleus of this scene has been burned into my fucking head for like whatever how long it's been, like what, a year since the last time we did
Probably.
this.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, been a hot minute.
It's been a hot second. I remember listening to the last time we did this as I was going to work on a bus pre-pandemic.
It was
So it's
no-
been at least a year.
It was November 2019 we played the first game.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's a year and a half.
So
Yeah. It's been a hot second.
So yeah, I've been fixated on this particular scene, so I'm going to frame this scene.
Hell yeah.
Eyes emoji.
Yeah. Hereafter.
Hello.
You get like a memo or an intercom call or something from Wyatt. I think Wyatt still functions out of like the more workshop-y area of the the facility. Ostensibly, he feels more comfortable there, but also he does it as a power play because it makes all of the other like all of his peers have to come to him. And he likes putting them off their, like, making them uncomfortable and putting them out of their territory.
I had actually had a bit of an idea about workplace stuff, is that since Wyatt has come higher in the ladder, that he has perhaps that, like, the level of technology that he's used to has started to bleed into the underground.
Well, how weird magic do you guys want to get? Because that's what why I actually dealt in.
I don't know.
Do it. Weird magic.
Okay. I think maybe it's start. I think maybe it's started. Like, that is starting. So
like maybe I've got a beeper now.
That's fair. That's like no. What you have is this would honestly probably be the first thing that he would figure out. There you have like a comic, like, old-timey key ring. And every one of those keys is like a bespoke communication device for a particular person.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, you get a call on your key from Wyatt to, like, meet him on the factory floor or something here in, like, 15-20 minutes. And when you show up, all of the workers from that particular section of the factory are outside, because there's, like, smoke rolling out of that room currently.
Okay, I wish I could say that this is new. Then Hereafter just walks into the smoke. That kind of pulls on the brim of his hat a little bit.
It's pretty, like, it's like a thick caustic smoke. Well,
if Wyatt isn't outside, then he must be inside.
It's true.
Is where I was called to meet Wyatt.
And I think, like, after a few moments of you, like, I guess, in there or whatever, or possibly calling out to Wyatt, I don't know what Hereafter does.
Just kind of walks around looking for him.
I think from, like, deep within the smoke, you hear Wyatt go, "And what the fuck is this supposed to be?"
Mr. Vancroft, you're going to have to delineate a subject of your sentence so that I can help you.
Fair enough. You see, like, the smoke sort of, like, swirl through, and it's, like, hotter than fuck all in here. Mostly because
Hereafter pulls off his hat and starts waving the smoke around. But the way that like the camera is angled is like he's waving smoke from in front of him, but it's covering his face until he puts the hat back on.
I think, like, Wyatt emerges through, like, the puff of smoke. He's in his what does a contemporary business suit look like? Oh, there we go. There's one. I think he's in, like, a pair of slacks with, like, the like kind of the high-waisted slacks with the vertical lines. Looks like a double-breasted vest is what this looks like, with the 4 pins, but it's all black over, like, a white shirt with the high collarless collar sort of vibe. And he just, like, emerges out of the smoke and is like, holds up the train ticket. What the fuck is this supposed to be?
Well, it was supposed to be a surprise, but I guess that's been ruined.
You had it delivered to my desk. Was it supposed? I'm sorry. Did the ticket forget the cake it was supposed to fucking jump out of?
What I think is that perhaps there was a bit of a mix-up. But this is fine. You were intended to know about it at some point. Soon, quickly. Perhaps in my next scene. But it's fine that you know about it now. What that is, my friend, is power. An incredible amount of power.
And I think Wyatt takes, like, a deep, like, angry breath of just a deep inhale of smoke and slowly breathes it back out. is like, please, I would love to hear how you spin this.
Well, first and foremost, I want to make sure that you understand that I don't intend for either of us to actually cash that ticket.
Oh, so this isn't the. He like smirks and sort of points at here after like, right. So this isn't a play to like get me out of the office for a while so you can pull on whatever strings of the web you've got going on.
Mr. Vancroft, that's a one-way ticket, and it goes all the way up, and I don't think that's where you need to go.
Fair.
You know, if you took that ticket, you don't get a +1, and I don't think that you want to leave without your +1, and I don't want to leave without you. So,
Gay.
What we then must determine is in what case and in what context that ticket is best punched in. By whom, for what price.
Oh, so it's the carrot on some sort of string you're putting together?
Perhaps. It's... In certain situations, it could be the stick. But in either case, it is power.
Do you want to determine the outcome now?
Yeah, somebody give me an outcome so I can figure out how to spin this.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting? Let's give it another positive one for now. I like it when the shit hits the fan a little bit further in.
Hell
So
yeah.
I'll pop that just there until you decide where it's going. Right.
I think like Wyatt takes another deep breath. This time like a calming one, and you notice like it physically gets less oppressively hot in this room.
Mm-hmm.
And Wyatt sort of like walks through the smoke, like reaches up into, or rolls up his sleeve, like reaches up into like something and just like pulls out like a thing of wadding that he had stuffed in there to intentionally do this.
Mm-hmm.
And like throws it at the trash can and starts heading toward the door and is like, we have the bait now, so we need to try and figure out who we're fishing for then, I imagine. You may have a couple of names on a list for me.
I may have some ideas. Yeah. He's like kind of walking out. He pulls out his pocket square and like is dabbing his forehead with it. And says, "Any chance I could hold on to that in the meantime?"
I think like Wyatt looks. By the way, Wyatt's not sweating at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Wyatt sort of like looks at the ticket and is like,
I just hate for it to be damaged
yeah.
in an industrial accident.
I think he like kind of like pulls open his vest, like tucks it on the inside of the pocket. It's safe as houses with me.
Very well, Mr. Vancroft. Okay.
Sick.
We love to see it.
We love to see it.
So,
co-conspirators, one and two of like neither one of them trusts the other one.
mm-hmm.
That's the best
Yeah,
kind.
Brian's got to decide where that dice goes. He has to give it to
Yes.
somebody
Oh,
else.
I decide where the guys
Yeah,
goes?
Act 1, you
yes.
give the dice to somebody else. Act 1, you keep the dice.
Act 2,
You mean Act 2?
Act 2,
you
you
keep it
yes, I meant Act 2.
you know.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to give it to Zach
Okay.
That tracks.
because it seems selfish to give it to me.
You have to give it to somebody else.
Yeah, can't keep it.
Yeah. So
So, yeah. And if there's only two people
could
in
give
the
the same
scene,
for that. Yeah.
it goes to one of them.
Is that the case? I didn't think it had to go to someone in
No,
the
it
scene.
doesn't. I think
does
if somebody like
We
contributes,
could give it to Sam for that well-timed game.
yeah, or you could give it to me because I decided how the outcome went in the end. Like whichever, it's entirely up to
I
I
see.
assume you can
Okay.
gamify it somehow. I've just never tried.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to Zach, mostly because I was mean and apparently took his scene.
Yes, I was planning on showing it to you in my scene. But that's fine. That's the way the
That's
game...
what you get for growing up in Phoenix.
That is my fault. Thankfully, the heat didn't bother me too badly in Wyatt scene. Cool. I am going to... I'm going to... What's the word? I'm going to...
Frame or resolve?
Frame a scene. Establish a scene. And that scene is... we hereafter leaves the caustic smoke, goes and puts on a new suit that is not covered in soot. Or really, just in the next scene, is in the same suit, but it's clean now. How does he do it? I don't know.
Magic.
Yes, but does head off to... Let me look and see what our locations might be. He's going to go to... Where is Juniper?
Depends on the time of day. Could be...
There were workers working, so...
Yeah, but I imagine it's shift work, so there's always people working somewhere.
True.
Really, I guess it's if you want like a just after coming off the line scene, because I'm assuming he wouldn't want to talk to her while she's working. So...
Let me know. Sure, yeah, so Juniper is just coming off the line.
Mm-hmm.
Up comes hereafter T undersigned. Smart black suit, ever-present hat that frames his face in such a way as to obscure his features except for a bright smile.
Juniper is in overalls and a tank top and covered in factory miscellany.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Miss Aurelius.
Mr. Undersigned.
A pleasure to see you. Glad to see that you're keeping well.
Turn to look at you and just like, I can't say the same, but presentable as always.
It's my job. Now, I just wanted to check in as, one revolutionary to another.
Make it quick. I need to shower. It just starts heading off in the direction of the barracks, like at a decent clip. Because I think we said that Juniper is as tall as him.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely stronger.
Yeah, Junie be tall. She's a tall lady.
Junie be tall. He just strolls after her and says, "Well, I'm sure you've seen the winds blowing with the Lady Fowlin returning from her journeys abroad."
Mm-hmm.
I've just been thinking about
dangerous pastime.
It's really the only one worth having, though. You and Sir Galen have a fairly close relationship with the Queen, wouldn't you say?
He's her brother. I supervise. Gwent screws up her face a little, realizing that's a weird way to phrase it, but also I don't think she's quite willing to confront how exactly she feels about the Queen. So,
Chaperone?
Sure.
Then you are around her fairly often. You understand her tics and means of being. Tell me, does she like coming back down here?
I think that stops her. And she turns around. I imagine sort of this is like a space between two buildings, like a bit of an alleyway. Mm-hmm. Why are you asking?
Well, I'm crafting a little bit. If she didn't like coming back down here, perhaps there might be a way that she didn't have to anymore. Perhaps there might be a way that someone else could.
He leans against the wall opposite him. Just folds her arms over her chest. What's the play hereafter?
You see, our dear Lady of Wolves has a unique boon granted to her by the architect of this place. A round-trip ticket that doesn't expire. Now, while she's here, in the below, the afterworld, it is kept under lock and key. Incredibly hard to access, nigh impossible, one might say.
Mm-hmm.
But while she's on the train, much more accessible.
She's just full on squinting at him, trying to suss out what exactly he's trying to accomplish with this. Trying to, when you try to get enough perspective on something, because, she feels like she's missing something.
Mm. The cards will be played in time, Miss Aurelius. But in the meantime, in the interim, if you could find that out for me, it would be very helpful.
And what are you going to do for me?
What do you need?
I'll get back to you.
And so shall I. And he runs a finger on the brim of his hat and strolls on out of there.
We didn't resolve it as a positive or negative.
No, but we can do it retroactively, depending on how people feel about the way that scene went.
Yeah, and it can always be the case that, regardless of how the talking went, the way the characters leave it, sort of a vibe. So,
our hold on Juniper's face and the expression she makes.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, friends, how did that scene go?
Negatively, huh? Oh, wait.
I moved a negative die silently.
Cool.
Well, you have to give it to me, and then I have to give it away.
Oh, my bad.
No worries.
But duly noted.
I forgot that you set up the scene for some reason.
I will take that, and I will give it to someone who hasn't had a scene yet.
Me?
I mean,
yeah.
Didn't I start?
Galen started.
Oh, right. Someone who doesn't have a die.
Either way, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
The meta of this game, I will remind you all, is that you want to try to have as much of one and as little as the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's me. What is this list? All right. I want to establish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this is because the Queen is back. I want to put this in the speakeasy. Anyone can be there that wants to be there. It's the off hours for various people. And Fallon is doing the thing that she does, which is giving out these gifts and pouring drinks. And that's the framing, the setting of the scene. I think Juniper has her usual perch at one end of the bar where she tends to sit when she's in there.
And I think Galen is just, there because he's excited his sister's back and he's, reveling in her presence.
Anyone else want to be there?
Wants to be there?
I was reading the book. What's the scene? I'm sorry.
You're good. This is in the speakeasy.
Oh, okay.
While the Queen does her being the Queen back from summer break vibe, doing slinging drinks and giving people their gifts. Like that one song from the musical.
I do believe you just got off of work, Juniper, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, she's, like, showered and all that. So, yeah, she's gone along there. I think that meeting, I use the term loosely, with Hereafter is playing on her mind. And she's still trying to suss out what the fuck his end game is. And she hates not knowing what it is. So she probably has that sort of kind of slightly thunderous expression going on. Just sort of like idly spinning the, I was going to say the ice in the drink. I feel like the afterworld is too hot for there to be ice in drinks. I don't know, it's just a vibe.
She's like spinning her drink around with her straw.
Yeah, like a little metal stirrer or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like Galen is like resting both of his both of his forearms on the bar, which is kind of sticky and a little gross, but he's sort of leaning towards Juniper, looking at his sister, but also like looking sort of askance at Juniper, and is like, kicking his feet a little bit and is like, something appears to be on your mind, friend.
She sort of like swivels her gaze to look at him, just like, you're getting irritatingly perceptive. Sorry.
Well, when one is king, one has to have some sort of perception.
Well,
he sort of shrugs. He's like, I see things sometimes, I just don't always understand what they mean.
Well, maybe it is getting better at perceiving me then.
Too true. And he like raises his like shitty drink.
Yeah, sure.
Tips it slightly towards you, like.
Yeah, the gesture is
there.
Mirrored. Sort of. She looks over at Fallon and is like, has got that same sort of inscrutable look on her face. And says, "Do you think she's happy?"
He sort of sighs dramatically and slides a little further down, slides his arms a little further forward, like he's just like hunching over, because he's kind of tall. Sort of hunches over the bar a little bit more, stretches his back out, and goes, I honestly don't know. She wasn't often very happy in life, so I don't... Sort of tilts his head side to side and goes, I'm not really sure I'd know the difference. She seems happier. Maybe.
Sips more of her drink.
Also, sorry. Fair enough. Also remember that Fallon died like 3 years before Galen did.
Yeah.
But she had been down here for like 30 years by the time Galen showed up.
Yeah. I remember.
So, she's not much of the sister I remember before her death. So now it's been about 5 years since the last time Galen saw her, and like 35 since she's seen him.
Yeah. But the two of you do talk, Galen.
Oh, yes, we do talk all the time about so many varying topics, such as, well, of course I'm okay. Everything is fine. And, well, of course everything's going fine down here, too. Such talks. He sort of crosses his arms a little bit more and sips his own drink.
So you think she's lying as much as you are?
Perhaps. I hope she isn't, but... We talk, but not much information passes between us. I think. She's gotten much... Well, she was canny in life, but in death she's a marvel.
Yeah, I imagine being...
She always was a better leader than I was.
Mm-hmm. That's the problem when somebody's very good at playing the part. You don't know if they're just really into the role or if they've started to actually believe it.
Too true. Takes like a gulp of his drink and makes like a yuck kind of face. Like, this really, really is just truly dreadful.
You learn to develop a taste for it. And she knocks back the rest of her drink.
Sort of looks at his own drink with like a look of disgust. It's like, I don't believe I ever will.
It helps not to think about what exactly it's made in.
Cool, thank you. I'm so glad you said that, because now that's the only thing I'm going to be able to think of. Makes a sad face, but continues, but just, slurps the rest of it down and goes, ugh. Well, at least it's alcohol.
Does somebody want to decide how this resolves? Because I think Juniper is going to talk to the Queen. So.
Oh-ho.
Uh-huh.
Sexy.
I mean, I have bias, so if someone else wants to choose.
I picked last time, so I pick Sam picks.
Oh god, okay. Fuck. I want it to go well. I don't know what to say. Like,
That's
I'm
okay.
inherently an optimistic person, so I'm gonna give you a positive die.
Alrighty.
And that's gonna badly stack the die against our favor in
Act
the
two.
second
It always makes
act,
things
but it's
interesting.
fine.
Alrighty. Then she waits for a moment and sort of flags down the queen to order another drink. And probably smiles at her a little bit more than she usually does. So rather than it just being a dour expression, it's like a slight uptick on one side of her face. You know,
a smile.
a smile, yeah. I think we can just sort of extrapolate. But she does sort of start having this conversation with the queen while she fixes her drink. And is just trying to get a read on how Fallon feels. Or whether she actually seems happy to be back, or whether it's bullshit. So, and either the queen doesn't suss out what she's doing, or just it's a pleasant conversation, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, I suppose I get to decide, like, what information she finds out or what vibe she gets about the queen.
Mm-hmm.
So really,
You're
Zach,
saying-
I need to know, I suppose, in the meta space, out of character, what direction the Hereafter is hoping it will go. Because if we're moving towards the desired endpoint, which, given the name of the game, the playset is escaping the afterworld.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, it would be good for Hereafter's plan if the queen wanted to leave and not come back.
Alrighty.
He is. I won't say what he's angling for, but that is
Yeah.
the first part of it.
The first
Of
step is
course.
her wanting to leave. Or not having to come back, I should say. Because she's going to get to leave
Yeah.
regardless. Alrighty.
Mhm.
Then I think what the information she gets is positive is that the place isn't the problem. I think she's unhappy in her marriage, which is
Mhm.
what her deal is. But the thing is, Galen is now here, and so leaving without him would be complicated. And she likes getting to see Galen
Mhm.
because obviously she died and stopped being able to see him, and then didn't see him for 35 years.
Mhm.
So
And then here he is, just as he was when he was alive, except a little sadder because he fucking died.
yeah, so I think she's conflicted, but also she would like to not have to come back here. Is the vibe that Juniper gets, and that's the nature of the positive thing, because this is going to be the information that Hereafter wants to hear, like respecting the fiction that we're trying to build here. So I just gave a thumbs up that none of you saw.
Mhm.
You're so valid.
Yeah, so that's scene.